Tycoon is a very wealthy and powerful individual in the business industry. In the early 1900s, a tycoon known as Rockefeller owned about 90% of the oil industry at the time. Rockefeller owned this industry by being a robber baron and paying his workers very low and also crushing smaller businesses. He believed strongly in capitalism, which is where people can own their own businesses instead of it all being owned by the government. And he used this to his advantage and believed that God gave him the money that he had. Rockefeller and his multi-billion-dollar monopoly were a result of industrialization, which is when many big industries began to grow and develop in the United States.
So many immigrants were poor workers because they simply did not have the assets and were just simply, they weren't educated enough to live in America. And so the working poor was vital to our economy by products decreasing in price due to low working rates, especially from the foreigners. It was also bad because for lower class people and immigrants, because it was almost impossible to have a mediocre living with working in such bad living conditions and so many like big wealthy CEOs and how like popular all the businesses were getting, and they had to do like the least amount of money job. Back then, immigration was extremely common from countries all around the world. It was good because it improved workforce for all different types of countries that wanted to improve in every aspect. And but it was also bad because many foreigners were coming into the country, which was bad because we wanted as many Americans as we could in the country. With the rise of industrialization, brought many changes to the economy, like urbanization and laissez-faire capitalism. Industrialization allowed us to surpass competitors like Germany and Great Britain, who were always competing with, to get ahead. And class divisions like the rich and the poor were created during the process.
Teddy Roosevelt was probably the best president we had since Lincoln. He served as president from 1901 to 1909, and he had very strong opinions on big businesses and food safety, which is why we have the FDA.
Teddy Roosevelt was aware of the food safety problem all across the country, from the short story of the jungle, which is why he actually created the FDA and looked more into it, and he was just so shocked and created the FDA because of how disgusted he was, and he knew the event had to be examined. And so the FDA made a huge difference on food safety, and is still here today. So Woodrow Wilson was elected president of the United States in 1913, and he served all the way up until 1921.
During his presidency, Woodrow enacted the 18th Amendment, which banned all sales of alcohol, and also he established the 19th Amendment, which granted women suffrage, or in other words, it allowed them to vote in elections.
You got scared about
Any,